in the middle.
Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 247.
I am Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
two crazy ketos. So welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, this is Keto Beyond the Couch. Keto Beyond the Couch is all about our subscribers. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. live whenever possible, and we like to just go over some of the different comments and questions we found on our social media over the last week, and also highlight success stories on our channel. So if you're new here, the way we're going to do this is go over our pre-prepared stuff, and then we don't pay too much attention to the chat till the last 10 or 15 minutes. So if you have a question, please hold off till then or use the super chat function. When you do that, it highlights our screen and we'll answer the question right away. But I don't want to miss your question, and we're really not going to pay too much attention to the chat. That helps us to keep the stream a little bit shorter. So today's live stream is sponsored by Keto Brains. If I can pull this up. Keto Brains is doing a really cool promo for the Two Crazy Ketos. This is exclusive to Two Crazy Ketos subscribers. For the month of November, if you purchase any Keto Brains, if you use the link that's up on the screen or down below, and the code, Two Crazy Ketos mug.
Yep.
You will get 15% off of your order.
And you will get
a free mug for any order over $50.
Which I love. And right now I'm not drinking Keto Brains. I already had my Keto Brains this morning in my first cup of coffee, as I do every single day. I've got some of Joe's chocolate milk that we made with the milk that you made.
If you haven't seen that recipe video,
Coco Loco,
go watch it.
But what I love about this is, especially during the holiday season, this reminds me that I am not white knuckling the holidays. I'm not at a risk of falling off the keto wagon. I am going to stick to my goals, and dude, I'm going to punch cravings and nonsense right in the face. I love it.
So if you need to get some Keto Brains, please use the link down below or the one up on the screen. Don't forget the coupon code of Two Crazy Ketos mug to get 15% off of your order. We really appreciate Keto Brains for supporting Two Crazy Ketos, and we appreciate you guys for supporting the sponsors who support Two Crazy Ketos. One quick announcement I wanted to let you guys know. We're going to try a couple different things on our channel in the coming weeks and months. Number one, we're gonna look into. I think we're gonna try to, now that we're more settled in, even though we're not in the house yet, we're gonna look into relaunching, I guess, our podcast. And here's what we're gonna do. We're working on a bunch of short videos, 10-minute videos on different topics. We've got one getting ready to come out. What we're going to do is we're going to release a video on that topic. It's going to be 10 minutes or whatever. But then we're going to also have a podcast that dives into it deeper. But it won't be on video.
That's right.
It'll just be on a podcast. We'll look into putting it on the YouTube podcast as well. But it will be on all of our podcast, platforms and stuff. We want to bring back our podcast. But I feel like that will be a good way to get the information out. But for people who really want it, if you just want the quick short version, you watch the video. If you want to dive deeper into the topic that we're talking about, most it's going to be just us kind of, shooting the poop. You can go and watch the podcast. We're getting this idea from a church that we like to watch online, where the pastor does his sermon and then
breaks it out for longer.
He breaks it out I didn't get all of this into my sermon, so he started doing a podcast.
Because I do think that
some topics need a lot more talk.
Exactly. And sometimes, you can't dive into, talking to specific things because you're trying to talk to the broader audience.
Yep. The other thing we're going to start doing is when we get a really good question within Keto Beyond the Couch or our live streams, we're going to try to cut that out and put up little segments.
Right.
For people who miss the live stream, or they don't want to watch an hour-long live stream, they can just see that one question. So help us out to promote this stuff more.
Right. I was going to say, first share the videos. I want to special shout out to Sean Bradley. I saw him using his personal Facebook group to say hey, here is some channels that I watch. We were part of that lineup. I felt very honored to be among that lineup, and shared on his personal Facebook page, thank you for doing that. That's, it's a grassroots effort. And then also, I just want to encourage you to share some meaty questions where, maybe there's a question and the answer to it for yourself.
Put it in our
now.
Mighty Networks group. Can you please talk about this topic?
Exactly. So we can help people.
That will help us build more. Chris, that's the perfect name. The 2KK After Party Podcast, where AKA Joe goes on a rant. Rachel's been going on a lot of rants in the house lately.
If you are watching my Instagram or the Substack that I started, it's really giving me a beautiful outlet for me to share some of my deeper thoughts on subjects. I'm getting a little spicy, and I'm not apologizing for it anymore. I think that imposter syndrome in the past made me more reserved when I felt like I did have a voice to share. And yet I'm like, well, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, or there's somebody that's like doing this lifestyle harder or better than me, or is more popular. And so I'm not going to share what I think because, no one wants to listen to me. I don't think that serves anybody. I think that, I'm not looking to see like, hey, maybe I'm not talking to a million people, but maybe I can be a blessing to that one person.
Yeah. And we do have a Substack that Rachel has started. There's only a few things up there, which is why we haven't been linking or anything like that. And I know nothing about it. That's Rachel's thing, and just topics that are on our mind. Rachel's been writing Substacks and stuff. So let's jump right into Keto Beyond the Couch. And we're going to start off with this one from Kelly.
Kelly P.
Said, if you want to believe the world is terrible, watch the news. If you want to believe the world is incredible, spend time in nature. And I love this because I get a lot of questions from people, emails or coaching clients. They're like, I am stressed. How do I relieve my stress? And here is my number one recommendation. Turn off the news. Turn off the news. There is zero reason to watch the news, especially right now. There is zero reason to watch the news. All the news is going to do is upset you. And I can tell, I'm speaking at this from personal experience. I read the news, I watch the news, I watch YouTube videos about the news, and all I start doing is screaming at the television.
Right.
That's all I do. If there is something really urgent that you need to know, I promise you will find out about it. Because if you're on Facebook or something, somebody's going to talk about it.
Or somebody's going to call you or text you or say something.
But turn off the news. That is the number one way you can lower your stress. If you are watching the news, even if you're not watching traditional news, like we don't have television, so we don't watch traditional news, but we'll go to the YouTube of like different news outlets and stuff like that and watch their little 5-minute segments. And all it does is aggravate you, right? And so just turn off the news. That will help relieve your stress.
And get out in nature like Kelly is sharing with you. We can sometimes get into that loop of like, it's too hot to go outside and then it's too cold to go outside. Well, we need to go outside. We need to do that. That is not just for exercise. That is for your mental well-being. So my advice is going to be put on those jackets, put on a hat, put on your shoes and socks, and go outside for a little bit. Take a cup of warm beverage with you. Take a hot cup of coffee and, walk around a little bit because, you stop for a second to watch 2 squirrels play in a tree and suddenly there's more hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Chris said, I want a behind the scenes video of Joe yelling at the news. No, you don't. It's not good.
It ain't pretty.
And Don and Joe want to know how Substacks work. We'll get into it later because I don't want to make this too long. But basically what Substack is, it is a long form version of Reddit. It's like a blog post, but Reddit kind of thing where people can kind of go in and read it and subscribe to it and that kind of stuff. So it's just something new and it's kind of exciting because it's a place where we can share our thoughts in a written format. And
I like to write.
The goal is to hopefully pull more people into the keto, carnivore, proper human diet space. Next one we have is from Trish. Sometimes a meetup can be as simple as asking who wants to grab a burger with me next Saturday. I absolutely love this group. It's so encouraging and inspiring to connect with kind, like-minded, health-conscious people. We had another fun and informative time together this past weekend. If you are in the Western New York, Southern Ontario area, and you are looking for friendship, support, and great time, send me a message. I'd love to send you an invite to our private Facebook page. Mark your calendar. Our next event is our holiday karaoke on December 18th.
So exciting.
And take a look at that photo of that great people getting together there.
Look at this. Look at these gorgeous people and look at this gorgeous community that's happening. I mean, that just blesses my heart because this doesn't have to be something that you do in isolation. And exactly like Trish is saying, it doesn't have to be hard. You know, we overcomplicate things. That's what we do. You know, it's funny, the holidays in particular, we tend to overcomplicate, right? You know, really all you want to do is share a meal with your family, and suddenly we turn it into the hosting Olympics, and it becomes something that even the evening before the event, we're like, oh, we're dreading it. Instead of what it was designed to do. So meetups don't have to be complicated. They can be as easy as, hey, you want to grab a coffee? I see that you live in my area. And if you live in the Western New York, Southern Ontario area, it's even easier for you because there's already people thinking about that. So join it.
Yep. Next one we have is from Kelly.
Kelly P.
Kelly said, I had to share I was able to get up from a prone position without and pull bars or physical assistance for the first time since my last surgery. I was so thankful. The funny thing is I didn't realize it till I'd already done it. Then I was like, holy crap, God is good. And that's how I felt. Okay, so, you know, for those of you who don't know, not to get too long with it, I was on painkillers for 25 years because I have pins in my ankle. And I was on these painkillers and arthritis medication, and I took it every day. I had a habit, come home from working lacrosse and football games, get a pill. And I did not even realize until 6 months in that I'd stopped taking them.
I just want to share because Kelly is, I'm not going to cry, Kelly. Kelly is a leader, a community connector within our movement group in Mighty Network. She shares all the time, you know, things that you can do like yoga from even like being in the bed.
Yeah.
And I want you to see that victory. If you're struggling to get movement in and you're like complainerman, like I can be if I don't want to get movement in, see that she is celebrating that she's been able to get in, you know, from a prone position up without assistance.
Yeah.
If you are able to get out of your bed and stand up and begin walking without assistance, I want you to celebrate that. I want you to say, just like Kelly is doing, holy crap, God is good. Because you are able to do something that a lot of people wish they could do. And I don't think we celebrate these little things enough. And if you can do more than what Kelly is able to do, will you go do that for Kelly? Because that's what Kelly's going to want you to do.
Next one we have is from Deborah.
Hey, Deborah.
Good morning, Solo Mission friends. How will you honor yourself today? There was a time when I would have considered that question self-centered, but not anymore. The best way to show appreciation for the life we've been given is to live fully, honestly, and healthy. I'm grateful to have this group as one of my anchors to good health. And that is why we have our groups. And just a little self-promotion. If you are not a member of our Mighty Networks, you need to go join it right now. Like literally pause the live stream, go over members.2krazyketos.com on your computer or on the browser of your phone. Do not use the Mighty Networks app to sign up. Computer or browser of your phone or tablet or whatever you're using, go over to members.2krazyketos.com. You can join for completely no money. It is free.
Free.
It is an amazing community. Now, if you want to support us financially, that's the best place to do it. We don't do Patreon or anything like that, because they have all these rules about sending you off platform and everything else. So that is the best place. It's the best place to help support us. And then also when you do any of the paid groups, you get some extra things like Rachel's Wednesday coaching groups. We're also going to start putting back in there as I'm getting more on top of videos. We're going to give you guys videos early.
Yes.
So we've got 3 videos ready to go for the week. We're going to start giving them to you a few days early. You get to see them before anybody else, including some really amazing recipe videos.
Yes.
Next one we have is from Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
I'm setting prayers for you two for the 2026 to surpass 100,000. You can do this from your mouth to God's ear.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
That really.
I just want that stupid plaque.
That's really, well, I just,
I want to reach more people.
I want to reach more people. And, sometimes again, you can get trapped in your head. And I think that when you don't see growth for a while, you automatically think that it's like you suck. And so I'm thankful that I'm going to do things afraid. And I'm thankful for people like you, Sharon, who's so encouraging and so willing to say, like, hey, man, I'm going to be praying for you. Because that is not nothing. We need to stop thinking like, well, if I say, man, I'm praying for you, that it's like, well, that's just nothing. No, I take that to heart. Thank you, Michelle Stewart, for the $4 super chat. Thank you for the cup of coffee for this avocado.
Next one we have is from Lori. I've been
Lori.
up and down in weight since 3 children. At one point, I was pushing 180, and I decided I didn't want to be one of those who had to use a mobilized cart at, I don't know what WM, because I can't walk.
Okay.
I've been low fat. I did a Daniel fast, which was pretty much vegan. Weight Watchers Atkins. Husband found Dr. Barry on YouTube, and I was hooked. It was easy while driving a tractor trailer. Food already prepared, came off the road. My husband had health issues. I want to lose what I gained back last year, which is 30 pounds plus more. And I want to get off of get my darling husband off of type 2 diabetes medication. And both of us metabolically healthy. I will be 60 next year. My husband will be 65. I don't want our lives to end up on the sofa watching Wheel and Jeopardy. You are in the right place,
You
Lori.
are.
And you have made the first step, which is realize I need to make a change.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of you. You can do this. It's much more sustainable than pretty much anything you've mentioned. And we're excited that you are here because I know some people are going to tell you it's not true, but I truly believe type 2 diabetes is reversible. It's not in remission. It's reversible. And how do I know that? Because I know a lot of people who have been doing this for a while who were on medication for type 2 diabetes. And they've been living this lifestyle for several years. And now they can occasionally go back. They will eat carbohydrates and their blood sugars really don't move. And so if their type 2 diabetes was just in remission, well, the second they would go back to eating any kind of sugar or wheat or anything like that, they'd be out of control needing insulin again.
That's
and
right.
They're not in that situation. So I think that the type 2 diabetes can't be reversed is a myth put out by the pharmaceutical industry. And again, we're not doctors, nurses, or health professionals. It's just my opinion based on everything that I've seen and studied and talking to people who are doctors, nurses, and health professionals within this space. Next one we have is from Karen.
Hi, Karen.
I'm excited to be here. I'm 68. I've been diagnosed with epilepsy and keto. Trying keto for that and to lose weight.
Karen, welcome. We are so excited that you are here. And again, the keto can be fantastic for epilepsy. In fact, we've seen it used for many decades.
It's actually what it was developed for.
Right. And then also losing weight is a beautiful side effect that we have found from going keto.
Now, here's what I'm going to tell you, Karen, is that if you were trying to work on your epilepsy and lose weight, your focus should be on the epilepsy. The weight loss will come, okay? It may not be as fast as you want, but the more important thing is to focus on the epilepsy. When you're dealing with brain issues, okay, you have to do keto a little bit differently.
Yes, you do.
You're going to need to eat a little bit higher fat. You want to keep your ketones at a higher level. In your situation, this is one of the few situations that I would look into also supplementing with some exogenous ketones because that helps your brain. Okay, it's not about weight loss. Exogenous ketones, regardless of what companies like Prove It and people like that are going to tell you, do not help you lose weight other than maybe giving you a little bit of energy to get through a workout.
Right.
But you want to keep your ketone levels high so that your brain is constantly using those. So you're going to eat keto a little bit differently. You're not eating keto for weight loss. For weight loss, you actually don't want to have really high ketones. You want to have like kind of moderate levels of ketones. So focus on the epilepsy. And because you're focusing on the epilepsy, because you're eating a healthier diet, the weight loss will come. Keto is a health improvement lifestyle, not a weight loss diet.
It's a side effect.
Yeah. Next one we have is from Melissa.
Hi, Melissa.
Does anybody have a go-to somewhat simple broccoli cheddar soup recipe? I had one saved and the website has been removed.
We do.
We actually have one.
Yeah.
So I actually put a link for it down below. We have never made a video on it.
No.
I actually just modified and changed the recipe a little bit to be able to use our new milk.
Yes.
So if
so
you
exciting.
make our milk and have the milk, then you could just use our milk. It makes it even easier. But I also do have in there still how to make the broccoli cheddar soup recipe without using like a pre-made milk,
Right.
where what the ingredients are that you're going to add in there. So link is down below. Video on that actually is coming. And we are super excited.
Soup season.
Broccoli cheddar soup is probably one of my favorite soups. I have 3 favorite soups: French onion, broccoli cheddar, and New England clam chowder. And it's funny, growing up, I only liked Manhattan clam chowder, and then I loved New England clam chowder.
That is so funny that you like anything seafood, because he's always complaining about
because clam chowder, you don't taste clams.
Right.
It's about the broth and the flavors and everything
that's
else.
True.
Okay, next one we have is from Carrie.
Hey, Carrie P.
Carrie puts up these great posts, and it always like just warms my heart. Said, we forget that waking up each day is the first thing that we should be grateful for.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I actually had a friend of mine whose son last week passed away in his sleep. And just the unimaginable heartache of that. And just, in speaking with her and just being there, because really there's just no words to comfort at this moment. But we don't honor the fact that we're waking up. Like, waking up really is the very first thing to be grateful for. And we need to take a moment when we wake up. You look around. As you're looking around, the first thing you see, let it be gratitude.
Yeah. Let's take a quick fade to black.
Happy Monday. Did everybody have fun during their Halloween trick-or-treating parties? Probably there's more parties going on this past Halloween because it was a Friday night Halloween. We didn't get any trick-or-treaters. It was so weird because we're used to being in South Creek where you'd have 300 trick-or-treaters on a Halloween, and we got nada.
Yeah, we went from a community where people literally bust into our neighborhood to
trick-or-treat because there's that much trick-or-treating.
I did see Sean said type 2 is reversible. I improved. My doctor told me once I went off of keto, I would go back to being diabetic. I told him the joke was on him because I'm not going off of keto. That was 5 years and 10 months ago. And here's the thing is, it's going to take time.
Sure.
You can't do keto for 6 months, get your blood sugar under control, and go, I'm healed from type 2 diabetes. Like, this is going to take years to fix your metabolic issues. Now, I will say, if you're a type 2 diabetic or been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in the past, or even if you haven't, if you were pre-diabetic, I promise this, okay, I promise you this, and I don't do this very often, promise. If you go back to eating the standard American diet with overly processed junk, with sugar, with lots of wheat, you'll get your type 2 diabetes back.
Sure.
But that's not because your type 2 diabetes was only in remission.
It's because it's a lifestyle thing.
You went back to eating what caused the type 2 diabetes to begin with. But if you went back to if you went off of keto, began to incorporate a few fruits, and I'm not advocating this, okay? I'm not one of those people that all of a sudden is like, okay, let's
things are good.
Things are good. We're going to go back here. But if you decided, you know what, I'm going to eat a more whole foods approach. I'm going to occasionally have some starches. I'm going to occasionally have some potatoes. It's fall. I want to eat some pumpkin and some sweet potatoes. Maybe I want to have some sourdough bread once in a while. And you don't overdo it. No, you're going to be fine because you've worked on your metabolic issues. But you can't go back to eating sugar every night and eating Wonder Bread every day for 4 meals a day and eating Fruity Pebbles. No, that could take somebody who's been doing keto and then go off of keto who didn't have any kind of problem and give them diabetes. Because the cause of the diabetes was way you were eating. It wasn't a body issue. It was what you were eating.
Well, that reminds me of like, if you've ever driven down the road and you see a pothole, but it's like the last second and you somehow feel like, whoa, I miraculously missed that pothole, right? You don't circle back around and say, well, let's see if I can hit it this time, right? Because it's like that would be foolish. So if you know that there's something that, hey, I realized my previous lifestyle was what was contributing to my poor health, it would be silly for you to go back to that previous lifestyle.
Yes.
And again, it wasn't a sweet potato. It certainly wasn't a piece of sourdough bread.
Justin said it perfectly yesterday on his live stream.
Right.
It wasn't eating an apple.
No.
Right? It wasn't having fruit.
No.
It was the pizza and the giant bowls of macaroni and cheese.
It was truly disordered.
And the bag of Snickers. I mean, you're talking to somebody who literally would go buy Hershey's Kisses. And I can't be the only one who did this. And we get so frustrated and disappointed that you would unwrap one, put it in your mouth, and be like, well, I want more, but this is so aggravating because I got to keep peeling them. So I would literally sit down on the floor and open up 20 of them and then eat them because I could shove it in my face faster. Or literally the day after Halloween, and we were talking about this at Peyton's birthday party yesterday. The day after Halloween, okay, we would go to the store, and not only did we do all the candy, because we didn't really do a lot of candy. We didn't do our kids, we would get them some candy. We weren't huge candy eaters. We would go out of control for kids ministry and buy like a year's worth of candy for kids ministry until we stopped doing that. But what we did do was find all of the other Halloween things. Paper plates, like, listen, in our house, no matter what time of the year it was,
it's always Halloween.
There were spiders on our plates because they were 50% off. Paper towels, the pretzels, like all the little individual bags, lunchbox food, Oreo cookies, because there were always the orange ones, the orange filling. We would buy like 100 packs of them. I mean, and then I would literally eat an entire pack in a sitting.
Sure, because it was there.
And so that is what caused our issues. It wasn't having a sweet potato or even French fries once in a while.
We were totally disordered. Like totally. So it's like, yeah, it kind of made me laugh when he said, it wasn't an apple that like made me as sick as I was. It wasn't an apple for me either. It was my aunt would mail an entire shipment of those like candy apples from QVC.
And nobody else in the house liked them.
And so I ate the entire dozen.
In like 3 days.
In like 2 or 3 days. Like that is the problem. Yes. If I see myself going in that direction, then yeah, I can expect that the 170 pounds are coming back. I can expect that the anxiety is going to come back, right? I don't want to get anywhere near that. But I do not want to mop myself into a corner where I am afraid to have, a beat because I'm afraid that I'm just one heartbeat away from being that girl that was so terribly sick.
Here's the real problem. The average American eats 36 teaspoons of sugar a day. 36 teaspoons of sugar a day.
Yeah.
Your body needs 1 teaspoon in its blood. 1 teaspoon. That doesn't mean you should go eat a teaspoon of sugar every day, okay? Because your body can make that.
Doesn't need your help.
But the average American is eating 36 or more teaspoons of sugar a day. That's what's causing the diabetic issues in this country. The overly processed foods, the fact that there is literally sugar in your salt. Go pick up, if you haven't heard me say this before, go pick up a bottle of the black label with the girl with the umbrella and look at the ingredients. There's dextrose in there. They're putting sugar in your salt. There is sugar in everything. That is the problem. I saw a thing on Facebook yesterday. This is not to get too political. This is not about the current administration or previous ones. This has been a problem in our country for a long time. And the person was like, you all tell me to eat healthier. But the bottom line is ground beef costs X, eggs cost X, but I can go buy a box of cereal for $2. And the person is right. And they're like, we don't need to fix like food stamps and all that. We need to fix the affordability of healthy foods.
Right.
And they're right. But the problem is, it is literally cheaper for companies to put all of these disgusting fillers in our food because we, as a society and our government over the years, have allowed it. A lot of these ingredients are not allowed in other countries. Also, for years and years and years, decades, really, right? Our government subsidizes the growing of corn, soy, and things like that. We literally pay farmers to grow it. So we have this abundance of corn and this abundance of soy that the government is paying farmers to grow.
What are you going to do with it?
Garbage. It's garbage. And the better thing would be for our government to pay farmers to raise cattle.
Yeah.
Or even grow vegetables.
Grow vegetables.
Right?
Something.
But not grow corn and soybeans.
Right.
But that is the real culprit, because what happens is the government pays for farmers to grow these things. The farmers are pretty much seeing a profit right of the way, so they can sell it super cheap, and then the food companies turn that into overly processed garbage like cornflakes.
Yeah, it's cheap to make.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of funny because, like, you know, and I have that moment at, you know, the cash register, and I get frustrated. You know, you have this beautiful quilt. Maybe you go into some place where they're making, you know, like a homemade quilt, and you're standing there at the register going like, well, man, this thing is like $500. I could go to Walmart and buy a comforter or something that looks like a quilt, and I can pay $40 for it. Right. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm going to go yell at the person that's, you know, selling the $500 quilt that they put hours and hours and hours into to make something that is amazing, right? Because you can find a cheaper thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what we're doing. Like, we're raising animals. I will tell you, it is not a cheap thing. You know, sometimes it costs money because there's a lot in it, right?
For example, like, we raise chickens. On average, not including the cost of building the coop and all that, just cost of feed and then a little bit of time to feed and water them and everything every day. On average, it costs us about $2 a dozen to get fresh eggs.
Right.
$1.50 to $2 a dozen, depending on the time of the year. During the summer, a little bit cheaper because they produced more. But during the winter, as we're coming in, our girls are slowing down because it's cooler out, less daytime. And so, yeah, it costs a lot of money to raise them. It's still healthy. Now, I actually met a lady the other day here in our local area, said that anybody who buys more than 5 dozen, she only charges $3 a dozen if you buy 5 dozen. And so that's something, if your egg prices are going up in the grocery stores, look around for local farmers and buy 5-10 dozen eggs at a time from them. A lot of times they say, I want to buy 10 dozen eggs from you. I want to buy 5 dozen eggs. What kind of a deal will you give me?
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll cut the price if you bring your own containers. You can buy them on Amazon and buy reusable ones. And the eggs are good for 60 days. 60 days. So don't be afraid to buy 5 dozen eggs at a time from people. Okay, we're going to get into today's topic from Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Does anyone change how they eat due to the time change and the sun going down earlier? For example, having a larger meal for your midday meal and eat something lighter in the evening. I know it's been said to eat when the sun up, and with the time change, though, it gets more hard to accomplish in the evening as the end of my work shift is at 5, but there's no guarantee I'm actually done by that time. Then it takes a bit to make dinner for myself and or the family. And this is the perfect question. So we talk a lot about, like, trying to eat with your circadian rhythm. And it's not always possible, especially at this time of the year. We've got less daytime hours. A lot of time we're getting home, it's dark at night, and like, it's 5 o'clock and it's already dark. I mean, we came home last night from Port St. Lucie and it was like at 6 o'clock, I felt like it was midnight.
It did look like midnight.
Okay, so here is how you want to adjust your eating schedule for this time of the year. So typically the best way to eat is going to be during the daylight hours. And the reason is that is when your body, your metabolism is faster, is when your body processes things. As the sun goes down, your body starts going naturally. It is time to slow down and get ready for bed. So it slows down your metabolism. You end up with higher blood sugars. You don't process foods because it's getting ready to go into sleep time. So what you want to do is you're already there, Ashley, but this is really for everybody. What you want to do is your largest meal of the day, if possible, should be in the middle of the day. That should be your largest day. So if you are a person who is intermittent fasting, and I'm kind of shifting more away from, nobody should be intermittent fasting intentionally. You should be doing it just because your body was like, I'm not hungry, but not actually doing it intentionally. That's another whole video. But wake up in the morning, have something to eat, your largest meal if possible in the middle of the day. It's not possible for everybody because you're at work. And then when you get home, on a lighter side. So if that's not possible, you want to shift what you eat and when you eat it. Your evening meal should be the lowest in carbohydrates and not super high in protein. You can have protein, but make sure you are offsetting with that protein with at least equal amount of fat. So if you're eating a steak, don't eat a sirloin at dinner time without putting a bunch of fat in there, because sirloin is extremely lean. That's going to jack your blood sugars overnight. So a ribeye, if you don't like ribeye, then make sure you're adding in a little bit of fat to bring that fat level up so that you're at least 1 gram of protein to 1 gram of fat. You should not have any more protein than fat with your dinner time, especially if you're eating it late. Your biggest meal during the day if possible. If you're going to have any kind of carbohydrates, try to have it in the middle of the day. And the big protein meal would be breakfast and lunch. And try to have more fat in the morning. Next thing is, we're getting home, it's late at night, or it's dark out at least. You want to cut your eating window off a minimum of 3 hours before going to bed. And that is going to be how you're going to get through the winter.
And I know that it is particularly hard. Be looking at not just like what you normally crave, but be aware that as we are, watching more movies, we're watching more shows, we're staying inside because it is getting colder. Be aware of the fact that what you are seeing on television, what is being marketed to you in movies, is also subliminally piquing you. It's going, hey, do you see that beautiful couple on that Hallmark movie channel right now for, the guy in the flannel? Do you see that they're having a warm mug of some hot chocolate beverage and some cookies? And you want that too, because you're eating along with them. You're having this, it feels like more of an immersive experience. Something that they've done recently with movies is you go to a movie and the theater moves with what's going on the movie screen, because you're wanting a more immersive experience. So if you see the girl in the movie and she's eating a bunch of popcorn, well, you want to eat why am I suddenly craving popcorn? I thought I kicked that. Well, it can be that you're watching it and you're having an immersive experience with them. So be understanding that. Call it out for what it is. If you're watching a movie and you see them eating something and then all of a sudden, well, I want that too. I think it's weird and not connected at all that I'm craving the same thing I see. Call it out. Say, I am just wanting something right now because the person on the movie is having something right now. Call it out for what it is.
Next one is from Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Isn't there a way to block negative comments from your sites? I'm just listening to the latest live and I'm so tired of people attacking my 2KK. I love you guys and I listen all the time because you are uplifting and you are always providing information that I can learn from. If people don't like you, they can tune off. I agree, and no, there's no way to turn off negative comments. We've adopted a new attitude. In the past, we ignored them or deleted them if they were really nasty. Now we've begun addressing them.
Right.
Sometimes we'll do it in a video. Sometimes we'll just do it to the person. If we do it in a video, I promise you that there is a reason. The reason we are addressing it in a video is because it's becoming commonplace and we think it is affecting the overall community. Not just Two Crazy Ketos,
but it's
but
like
the
a
overall
dogma.
Proper human diet community, and I've had it. Sometimes when we address it, it's because it's an educational thing. So like there's a couple here at the end where the person was was making a comment about an ingredient, and there's misinformation, and so we're going to address it. This person is misinformed. Now, they think they're right, which is even more dangerous, but that's where we're going to address it in a video. Here's the thing. Don't worry about the negative comments, because even Rachel now has gotten to the point where she is becoming a little bit more spicy, and it actually helps our channel. So you all aren't going to do this, but the jerks out there, let them leave the negative comments, because they're actually helping build our channel. Because now they leave a negative comment, YouTube likes that.
So they'll recommend us to somebody else.
That is considered engagement. And now that we're responding, it's even more engagement. And so YouTube goes, oh, not only do people like to leave comments on this, but the creators actually will comment back. That keeps people on the platform. We're going to promote them more. So leave all the negative comments you want. It helps build our channel.
But here's the thing.
If you want to hurt us, don't say anything.
Here's my thing, though. Keep that in mind, that that's how the algorithm is set. And just like we were saying, stay out of the news. You may want to stay out of the drama of like YouTube too, right? Like, you know when you've had enough for the day. And I think it's really important that we have a conversation with ourselves and say, like, is my blood pressure going up because I'm being aggravated right now, or I'm mad because, like, we may need to fast. If you want to fast something, you may need to fast.
Not too crazy keto.
But negativity.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
And so here's the other thing to go along with that. You've got like these different things when it comes to the growth, and people are like, I don't understand why you're not growing. I'm going to tell you why. Because we refuse to jump on, we're changing what we're doing this month or this week or today.
Right.
That we have stayed consistent.
And that's boring.
And that's boring.
People like a dumpster fire, dude.
You want to see us gain 1,000 subscribers overnight? We'll put a video out tomorrow saying we're quitting keto.
Yeah.
Well, like that.
Boom.
Okay. The video will get 20,000 views, but then what? And so I'm not saying this is all content creators, but understand that you have to constantly come out with new content. You're always having to go like, what can I do? What can I do? How do I keep people engaged? And so one of the easiest ways to keep people engaged, especially in an eating lifestyle environment, is to change the way you're eating. Because when you have loyal subscribers, they're going like, well, why are they changing? Maybe I should change too. And keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Serena said it, and I know we're not looking at the chat very much, but she's like, the new carnivore drama is just nuts. And everyone is like, I'm not commenting on it, yet making entire videos on it. So it's like,
and we have a video coming out about it, but it's more about how the community is in trouble right now. And when I say the community, I'm not talking about the carnivore community. I'm not even talking about the entire proper human diet.
Fueled community.
And what I'm telling you is this dogma is killing people. The reason I say it's killing people is because you're scaring people away and going, I want nothing to do with that. I'm going to keep eating the way I'm eating.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to take a GLP-1 instead.
Yeah.
It's easier.
I don't want to have to engage with this.
Yeah. Next one is from Mary.
Hey, Mary.
The new thing is high protein. Again, what we just talked about. We got to change. We got to find something new. I've seen so much improvement in people concentrating on protein, including my husband. We don't have to say low carb or keto or any other name anymore. I choose healthy. That is perfect. I tell them, what is the best thing to say? I eat a primarily meat diet, and I've cut out overly processed foods and sugars. The only thing about the high protein in itself can be good, but if you're incorporating high protein with low to no fat, that could be an issue. You need to have fat. The protein without fat is just as bad, because the fat brings in some of the fat soluble vitamins. If you're not consuming fat, then your body can't absorb all the vitamins and nutrients. So you need to have a good balance. The best place to start is 1 gram of fat to 1 gram of protein.
Just keep in mind that just like if you were doing a search at the library to find a book title to read, you're looking for a certain subject matter, the book has to be titled. You can't find it if the author does not commit to a title so that you can get yourself in the range of the subject matter that you're interested in. Okay. So for us, we got to be named something. We're two crazy ketos. That's, how we started out. We talk about things and tag it all kinds of low carb, keto, carnivore, protein. You'll see all kinds of hashtags because we're trying to reach anybody that's looking for what our content will help them with, right? But you do not have to title your book.
Right.
That is not necessary. Because why? Because you don't have any, hopefully you're not having any trouble finding yourself, right? You wake up, your refrigerator, you open it up. There doesn't need to be any hashtags on the things in your refrigerator because you know what they are, right? So even if we call something in order to title a video so someone who's not already keto could find us, that's all we're doing. But you don't have to do that. You don't have to call what you're eating anything other than this is my food. Yeah. Breakfast. That's what I call it.
Next one is from Faded Star.
Hi, Faded Star.
This was because you're getting some carnivores actually saying now that you don't need to eat salt either. And so Faded Star said, salt is a needed mineral for even a carnivore. The lion gets its salt from the mineral-rich, fresh blood of its fresh kill.
Boom.
I don't want to drink blood, so I'm just going to add salt.
There you go.
The lion has even fermented greens, which are inside of the intestines of an animal it just took down. I have yet to see a lion picking out fermented greens in the intestines because it's not really carnivore.
You see what's happening?
This is the point.
Picking
this
pepper
is the
out of
point.
poop.
So, wolves, when wolves make their kill, okay? So when you look at, for example, a dog, okay, we feed Tabitha a grain-free diet. When you look at a dog, they are part of the wolf family. When wolves make the kill, the first thing they do is eat the intestines. So they are getting the greens.
Right.
Because they're getting all of the stuff that animal ate. They're just getting it. It's kind of like us with a cow, right? You're getting greens. The cow just turned them into good food for you.
Right, he ate it for you.
So it's the same thing with lions. Yes, lions get their sodium from their kill because they're consuming the blood. I'm not about to make a kill and then drink the blood. Now, I will say, to be a little bit gross, if I know a lot of people who go hunting and when they will consume a little bit of the blood, just a few drops of it to say, like, thank you to the animal for providing food for me. But that's more of like especially
cultural.
Like natives, it's like a cultural way to give back.
Honor.
But that's not how they're getting all of their sodium. You need sodium, and you need good sodium, which is why we highly recommend red mineral salt. Next one is from Caprice.
Hi, Caprice.
Joe said we could not use his milk recipe for yogurt as it is. I've always used inulin in my yogurt because that's what's recommended by Dr. William Davis in Supergut. So what if we omitted the allulose that L-lutein can't eat and add a little inulin for bacteria? Problem solved? ? Yes. Okay. What I would say, if you want to use and we're doing some testing, I need more heavy cream. But you could take our milk and no longer have to go by
Fairlife.
What
do you think about that?
Okay. But you have to add to it. So Fairlife still has sugar in it. What is Fairlife milk? What makes it different is they remove 50% of the sugars, which is why your yogurt now becomes 1 carb or 0 carb per serving. Okay. Because you're taking out all of the sugar. You have the bacteria, the yogurt cultures, they consume the sugar. Whatever's left is in the form of whey. We drain that off. And now you have a very, very low carb yogurt. And you have a healthy fermented food. Fermented foods are one of the best things you can consume. Okay. It's a superfood. That's your superfood, is fermented foods. And then, of course, meat. Meat is a superfood. So what could you add to it? And now I'm not advocating. I'm just telling you, what could you add to it? You could add inulin, chicory root fiber, or a teaspoon of sugar. I am not going to recommend using sugar because I don't want it in your house. Okay. I'm just telling you, you have to introduce something that the bacteria cultures can eat and consume. With that said, I would not pull out the allulose because the allulose is the bacteria can't consume it, but it's not going to hurt it. And it brings in sweetness into your yogurt that you would normally get. I think that if you don't have any kind of sweetener at all, it's going to be an extremely tangy yogurt because milk itself has lactose. The cultures don't consume all of them, it helps balance it out. So I would leave the allulose in, but we are going to be doing some testing. I would leave the allulose in and then use inulin, chicory root fiber, and we're not even going to talk about the rest.
Great idea.
Next one is from Harold.
Hi, Harold.
Heavy whipping cream from Costco shows it doesn't have any carbs and it's cleaner ingredients than Walmart. So there's a lot of different brands of heavy cream out there. They all do have different ingredients. I'm not going to get into the whole carrageenan thing. I think actually one of the comments actually asked about it, but what I want to address is the carbs. They're lying to you.
Yeah.
Okay. If you are new here, all heavy cream, all heavy whipping cream has carbs.
Yeah.
All. It is 0.413 grams per tablespoon minimum. So that's the minimum. Can it go over? Yes. If they're adding in a lot of thickeners and things like that, it could have more carbs. But all heavy cream has carbs. So why does the Costco label show 0? Because it is only 0.413 carbs per tablespoon. Most heavy whipping cream containers say that a serving size is 1 tablespoon. They are legally must round down to 0. They must round down to 0. So don't get fooled by the label.
No.
All heavy cream has carbs. And even if you go to ChatGPT, and I was shocked when it did this, but if you go to ChatGPT and put in, I just consume 4 ounces of heavy whipping cream, it actually will give you the correct carb count.
Nice.
So I was very impressed by that.
I would just like to take a moment to welcome Harold because I believe Harold is probably new
that he hasn't
to
heard
this
those.
challenge, or this channel because I don't. Yeah.
And Chris just put up a link to a blog post on Keto Chow about heavy cream.
Yes.
Okay. And also powdered fats, because powdered fats are even worse. Powdered fats are going to say 0 carb or 1 carb, and it's like worse. Powdered butter powder has more carbs than heavy cream.
Yes.
So that should be an emergency only kind of thing. Next one is from Quiet Storm.
Hi, Quiet Storm.
This is on the milk video. I have a hard time finding heavy whipping cream that doesn't have a bunch of additives. I seem to get a lot of conflicting info on whether carrageenan is harmful or not. When I do find heavy whipping cream, it is usually double the cost. Pure heavy whipping cream, it's usually double the cost of the stuff with additives. I'm not sure why you were using collagen powder over complete protein powder like whey protein isolate or beef protein powder. To be honest, based on your ingredients, it seemed like this is a kissing cousin to protein shakes. So a couple things I wanted to address. I am on the side of, I think that the carrageenan thing is overblown. It's a seaweed. I think it's overblown. I think that the jury is still out on it. All heavy whipping cream is going to have stabilizers because of the way they do it. Heavy cream, you can a lot of times find heavy cream that doesn't have stabilizers. So now what you want to do is you're going to 99% of the time you're not going to find heavy cream. It is much harder to find heavy cream over heavy whipping cream. Heavy cream is generally about 38 to 40% fat, whereas heavy whipping cream is generally 35 to 36% fat. That's why I say in that video, this is based on heavy whipping cream. It is very difficult to find heavy cream. I've only ever found it in one store in all of South Florida. That was Winn-Dixie, and then they went out of business.
Right.
But Publix, Walmart, nobody sells heavy cream. Sometimes you can go to a local farmer and get it, but you're going to pay through the nose. You're looking at like $15, $20 for a quart of it. Because they would rather use it to make butter.
Right.
Or cheese. So find the cleanest ones if you're worried about that. I like to look for the ones, there's generally going to be a stabilizer like guar gum or something like that in there. That's to help with separation and stuff. I don't really worry about the carrageenan. There are plenty of brands out there without that. As far as why do I use collagen powder over protein powder with whey is going to bring in lactose. It will not be like milk. The goal of that recipe was to create a milk that I could use for recipes like our broccoli cheddar soup, and also
not have lactose.
And also for like to be able to give Peyton if I want to give her some milk, if I want any kind of recipe, if I want to pour milk over a cereal, whatever it may be, I wanted an actual milk. I know a lot of people who like to drink milk, and they're currently buying Fairlife, which is 6 carbs per glass. So my goal was to create that. The topper is my milk recipe is pretty much lactose free. Okay, so there is a touch of lactose in heavy cream, but we are diluting it 5-to-1. So for all intents and purposes, it is lactose free. And I will tell you 99%, remember, not a doctor, but 99% of people who are lactose intolerant will be able to handle that. Most people who are lactose intolerant can handle heavy whipping cream. So that's just something to keep in mind. As far as and beef protein would not make a milk at all.
It would make gravy.
Now you can actually make it without the collagen peptides at all. Okay, the collagen peptides help thicken it up and bring in some protein, which answers your last question as this is the kissing comes into a protein shake. It's not, it's milk.
Yeah.
A protein shake would not be milk. A protein shake is generally meant to be something like for a post-workout or as a meal replacement. 8 grams of fat and 8 grams of protein is not a meal replacement. Also, collagen peptides are not a complete protein. It's better for hair, skin, and nails.
This is one of those recipes where it sounds like, well, this is boring. I don't see the point to this, but really, this is a game changer. This is a game. I'm like so excited about this recipe because of the way that it can be a true blessing to people, especially for people who have been trying to fill the void with nut milks. This is a biggie. And this is awesome for kids. This is awesome for like if you do have a keto cereal. The thought of like, yeah, you could use it once you add, like you're saying, like the inulin to make your yogurt. I mean, this is a game changer, both financially and also like just for what you can use it with. So it's kind of like that. It's definitely flying underneath the radar of like cool factor, but it's something that really is a stepping stone.
And I'm working on a dairy-free version too. Wow. So again, that's exactly right. This was to replace all the people who use nut milks. Okay, because nut milks are not that good for you. So that's what the goal of this was. And then again, Rebel Milk had one, Rebel Creamery had one, and they took it off the market because their 2 biggest retailers, one of which is Publix, stopped selling it. And so they just took it off the market. And so they don't make it anymore.
Right.
So that was the whole idea. Could we make that? Our yogurt recipe came out of desperation, really, of in 2019, we went to KetoCon, and there was a yogurt called Peak Yogurt.
So good.
Which was really, really good, but it was only available on the Northwest coast, like up in Washington and stuff. You couldn't buy it. They really didn't ship it. They didn't ship it very, very far because it was a double fat yogurt. That's why the original yogurt recipe has adding heavy cream, because the purpose was to duplicate their yogurt. And if you go watch the very original video on that where we use nut milk bags, it was 1-for-1 like their yogurt. That was the goal. Well, here the goal was, could we make basically the old Rebel Milk?
It's funny because,
but with better ingredients.
I think different cooks and recipe developers, like their thought is different. And some people, it is about a, showcase.
We want to put companies out of business.
Blow your socks off type of like really cool or visually appealing recipe, or just something that's is just whoa. And then there's recipe creators that want to solve a problem. Sometimes the problem is the financial side of it, right? Sometimes it's a missing element that once this bridge is created, it will get you to be able to do other things. And I think that's what you are. You're a problem solver that are just trying to find something that people can use on the daily, it's not as exciting, but it becomes like a staple.
Oh, I read Quiet Storms. Mary Lou.
Hey, Mary Lou.
Okay. Guar gum. Really? No good. Let's make better choices for our health. Forget it being creamier. Bring good news to your people.
I feel like you're suggesting that we see ourselves as somebody that's going to bring down
Y'all are our people.
on a on a rock stone tablet like the 10 commandments of keto right now.
Not to be
you
mean.
You need to grow hair and a longer beard.
Not to be mean, but I'm going to assume Mary Lou is not one of our people. And I'm completely fine with that.
Your people.
Because here is what I'm going to say. We are not perfect. We do not eat perfect. And Mary Lou, I will pretty much guarantee neither do you. Okay? Because nobody is perfect anywhere ever on this earth.
Mary Lou may be.
With the exception of one person.
You've met the one other person though now.
So let's talk about guar gum. Number one, I say clearly in the recipe video, you do not need to use this, but it does make it better. It does make it better because it is a stabilizer. It helps the fat not separate. You're mixing fat and water. Okay, what happens when you mix oil and water? Go buy a bottle of Italian dressing. What happens when you mix oil and water? It doesn't. It needs an emulsifier and a stabilizer, and that's what guar gum is doing. Which is why I tell you got to start with warm water. Because if you take cold water and then pour that milk in there and throw it on a blender, you will get butter. Ask me how I know, okay? I wasted 4 quarts of heavy cream making that recipe video.
That'll make you cry.
Okay? So, now let's talk about the guar gum. It is 1/40th of a teaspoon in a glass. You can't even measure that. 1/40th of a teaspoon. Next, guar gum comes from the guar bean. It is ground up guar beans. That's what it is. Even if you have a legume allergy, it will not affect you because it is 1/40th of a teaspoon. Like, I can't even cut a bean up that much. Okay? There is zero evidence, zero studies, not one report. I scoured after this. Not one report that guar gum is bad for your health. Not one report. If you consumed excess guar gum, this goes back to the sucralose, right? And this is why studies are so bad. You could have some digestive issues, but I'm talking about you would have to eat like that much of it. It's 1/40th of a teaspoon, and you don't have to use it.
I swear this is not even Mary Lou's fault. I have a feeling that there was some sort of content creator that Mary Lou thinks is awesome, and probably in a lot of ways is awesome, that they were like, crap, we didn't make a video today. Did you make a video? What are we going to talk about today? Okay, all right, that's it. We've got to like throw a dart and slap an ingredient and say it's the devil today because we got nothing else. We got nothing else. Who's on the list? Who's on the list? Guar gum. Guar gum, you are on the crap list today, friend. And then just said, it's bad. It's horrible. All of the world, the society's ills boils down to too much guar gum consumption.
Right.
And then that's where it gets stuck in our minds. Like, so-and-so said guar gum is the devil. And so now anybody that says guar gum is immediately working for the devil.
I don't even know if that video exists because I feel like in all of my searching it would have come up because YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world.
Here's the thing. We are running out of things to be pissed off at. So we're just making crap up.
Here's what I'm going to say. So don't worry about guar gum.
No.
Number one. I don't like the way Rachel makes me say this. Okay.
Say it nice.
Stop picking pepper out of
poop.
But that is it.
Yes.
It sounds better if we use the other word.
Yes.
Okay. Because that's what this is. It's bull. okay? Stop picking pepper out of poop.
Right.
You have a lot more things to worry about than a 40th of a teaspoon of guar gum.
Yes.
Okay? People are going to ask, what is the difference between guar gum and xanthan gum? And then also cognac root. Guar gum is better for cold recipes, milk, ice cream, things like that. Xanthan gum is going to be better for hot recipes, like soups and things like that. The best one to use would be Terra gum.
It's expensive though.
But Terra gum is $25. I have recipes that use it. Terra gum's $25 for like an ounce.
Right.
Now it'll go you forever because you need even less, but it's all about your application. Guar gum is a perfectly fine and safe thickener. It's a lot better than cornstarch, which is what we're replacing it with. So you could put in a third of a cup of cornstarch, or you could use a 40th of a teaspoon of guar gum. I'm going to, if for people who are like, you can't have any of this, I promise you are exposing yourselves to more toxins. Taking a shower, washing your hands, brushing your teeth, washing your clothes, or walking down the street in a city.
Right. But you need to do all of those things. Please do not stop doing those things.
Even if you're like us and you're on well, there are more toxins in our well water.
Right.
Even after running through a filter.
But you still need to shower.
Than you're going to get from a 40th of a teaspoon of guar gum.
Please hear me.
Stop picking pepper out of poop.
Shower. Here's the reason why we're starting to address this more is the fact that you have a recipe that could really be a blessing to someone and someone's like, oh my gosh, like this could really handle like my lactose issues. Maybe I've gone keto or low carb, but I'm having a really hard time weaning myself off of drinking a gallon of milk across 2 days because like that was a problem for my mom. That was a problem for like a lot of people that I know that I've run into that they're like, man, I just love a cold glass of milk and I'm having a hard time like not having this. So knowing that there are people out there who could benefit from something like this, that's why we have the recipe. But if they roll up and they're like, oh, finally something that I can use to help this issue that I have. And you see like, except for guar gum's the devil, then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, well, I would rather just handle the devil I know and continue drinking red label milk, right? Oh,
You're telling the guy sitting drinking a grape Kool-Aid flavor of Rise energy drink that I should worry about a 40th of a teaspoon of guar gum.
Right.
Stop picking pepper out of poop. Last one. Last one is from Howard.
Hi, Howard.
Please don't use ultra-processed foods with kids. Make them bacon and eggs. This is in response to the same video where we say this is great to pour over Magic Spoon cereal.
Magic Spoon. And magically the haters appear.
Is Magic Spoon a processed food? Yes. I don't know if I would. I guess you can say it's an overly processed food, but I'm going to say I don't know if I would put it in. I'm not going to put it into the same category as Fruit Loops. It has less ingredients, less toxins, less harmful things. It's a cleaner product. So is it processed? Yes. Is it overly processed? Yeah, you can. If you're going to say that Fruit Loops is overly processed, there's got to be something in between Fruit Loops and just bacon, which, by the way, is processed. Okay, so bacon is processed too. And some people could say it's overly processed because, number one, you slaughter it, but then you got to salt it and you have to brine it. And generally, you're going to be using nitrates and nitrites to do that. So that's another whole thing. There's something in between ultra processed and processed, because I think there is a huge difference between Fruit Loops and Magic Spoon. But here is my answer to this. It's called baby steps. It is going to be a lot easier to get a parent to take their child who has been eating Fruity Pebbles cereal for the last 5 years and switch them to Magic Spoon, which I think tastes pretty good, and then maybe eventually bacon and eggs, than it is to go, no more cereal, no more candy, no more junk. From now on, you only get steak.
That may work, and that may work great for many families. I
Especially
understand that.
adults.
Howard, I'm never going to come to your house with a box of Magic Spoon. If I'm coming to Howard Haymaker's house, I am coming with steak. I know that. Like, you're indicating to me that that is a no-no in your house, and I would never dishonor your house by bringing something to your house that you do not want, okay? But your neighbors may not be having the same things in your fridge. And I don't want to say to any family, if you won't do it right as I define it, then just don't do it at all. Because don't doing it at all is a death sentence to that next generation, because things are not getting less processed, they're getting more processed, okay? So I am not going to say that a person who uses a bridge, like going from a sugared cereal to a non-sugar cereal, doesn't have room to still make improvements later on. I'd rather give them that bridge, let them start weaning off and do things just differently than you did it, going from, because chances are you did not wake up a carnivore. You probably had a health journey of your own. Maybe it looks differently than ours, but you know what? We're still keto more than 8 years later because we have used bridges that maybe you didn't bridge. And maybe we saying miracle spoon is a bridge too far for you, and I understand that. But for some people, it's going to be more pragmatic way for them to get off the sugar.
Not to be more holier than now, but here's the thing. I believe we're still here 8 years later because we've found a way to make it sustainable, occasionally using keto chow, a Rise energy drink, instead of drinking the Starbucks Frappuccino that's tons of sugar. Having a chalk zero once in a while. Now, maybe not everybody agrees, but I think we're still here 8 years later because we found things that help make it sustainable. And I can tell you, I know a lot of keto content creators who are no longer keto content creators, no longer even on YouTube, that got dogmatic on day one and just gave up because it was too hard.
Yeah.
This is about sustainability. We went to a double 3-year-old birthday party yesterday, and I witnessed a table of nothing but sugar for cakes and cupcakes and frosting and cookies and all that stuff. Now, there was food too, but I'm talking about for the, the fun part of the party, right? Are you going to go to those 3, 4, 5-year-olds who are at that party and go, listen, no cake for your birthday. You're only allowed to have a ribeye. That's it. Even Dr. Berry has said, birthday and anniversary, have at it.
If that's what works in your
plan.
And
here's the thing. I watched my 3-year-old, almost 3-year-old granddaughter pick up a cupcake, take her finger, frosting, my tummy hurts.
And then literally hand it to me and go, I'm done.
Yes. Did mom and dad let her have it? Yes. Did she consume a lot of it? No, because it's not part of her regular diet. And she was like, yeah.
It's a pretty
because
color.
Michelle said she tried a couple pieces of candy, as any 3-year-old would on Halloween, and then was like, I don't feel good.
My
and
tummy
that's
hurts.
Dr. Berry told me that's the whole point. Go overly indulge on your birthday, and you're going to get sick, and you're going to be like, that was not worth it.
That was not
I did that 8 years ago. I said on Christmas, I'm going to have a piece of pie. After 9 months, 10 months on keto, I was sick for a week and said never again.
I will say that if you are looking for a, less processed version, you want to make your own cereal, we have a recipe for that too, using keto chow.
That's
you
right.
can make your own cereal.
They're going to say that's overly processed. So in the end, this is about sustainability.
Thanks,
and
Gloria.
Slowly pulling kids and families over. Gloria, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Because we started late, we're going to do like 5 minutes of comments and just kind of go back. Trish said, we're 2 crazy ketos, not 2 militant ketos. Right. Absolutely. This is about sustainability.
Yeah.
It's about sustainability.
I plan on living a really long time.
Our diet is a lot cleaner than it was 8 years ago. 8 years ago, we never went a day without eating mug cakes
and fat bombs every single day. No, and I do plan on living a really long time. And because of that, I've got to, I got to stretch out the crazy a little. I got to pace myself a little bit when it comes to how strict am I going to be with myself? Because if I work myself into like this, am I going to want to be like this for the next 50, 60 years? I don't think so.
Juliana said, all or nothing. That's my biggest mindset shift. Learning to embrace cruise control. Absolutely. Dustin said, when it comes to kidding getting food into their bellies, you have to pick your battles. Absolutely. Here's the thing. Okay, so Real Good Foods, which we're still looking for their new tallow, but Real Good Foods has recently released
Dino Nuggets.
Dino Nuggets. Okay, so I love the fact that Chris and Miriam from Keto Chow have to say this food is not intended for children, but Dino Nuggets in the grocery store are.
Right.
Go look at the amount of ingredients on a package of is there even any meat in there?
It's mostly breading.
Right? So you go from a Dino Nugget from Purdue or Tyson or whoever makes them with ridiculous amounts of ingredients and chemicals and carbohydrates to Real Good Food, which has minimal ingredients and like 3 carbs per serving.
It's like a protein batter.
And you're going to tell me, tell the kid, if you won't eat a piece of chicken breast with nothing on it, just eat the other garbage instead. We can't have something in between.
It would be a perfect visual like transition where the kid does not notice it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help them transition because again, Michelle and John Paul did have the benefit of knowing, they were surrounded by people like Nisha Berry and they were surrounded by people like Crystal Sykes the day the baby was born. And so they kind of knew what to, feed Peyton from day one. But what about somebody who's coming to keto and their kid is 5 years old? And there's already some, behaviors and some taste preferences that have already been established, right? This is something that you've got to work with, and it can be really challenging.
John, that's actually good. John said, speaking of beans, a vanilla soy latte is basically a 3-bean soup.
True that.
Right?
True that. I'm excited about hey, lattes are back because of your milk.
That's right. You can now make lattes. I'm trying to find my frother. Transformative progress. I love making DIY Greek yogurt. I just got an order of rennet and citric acid so I can make better cottage cheese and other cheeses.
You feel so good when you make something yourself like that, don't you?
Barbara said Joe and Rachel are raising their cortisol levels. See what they've done, Mary. Actually, this is lowering my cortisol levels because I'm getting it off of my chest.
Right. Not saying something, I would say the last 2 years have been really challenging. To just keep quiet when you're like, I think people, but sometimes the bullies in the room carry themselves with such a swagger that you're afraid to call them on their crap, right? Because you're just like, well, they just seem, I'm awkward and they seem like they're very self-assured. But I think that you need to call the bullies, and I'm willing to get a black eye for this.
Juliana said, not me, sitting here thinking of Joe cutting a bean like Mickey Mouse in the Christmas Carol slicing a pea.
Can I have some more, sir?
I did see earlier because there was a question from, I think it was Sabrina, about could you use a NutriBullet? You should be able to use a NutriBullet to make the milk. You don't need a Vitamix, okay? Again, this is not a recipe that requires a high speed Vitamix.
No.
In fact, you don't want a high speed. You don't want to high speed. Well, it's not cooking it. High speed using heavy cream will result in butter.
Right.
Okay, so that's why it's on low to medium. So you don't want high speed. So a $10 to $20 blender from Walmart will work fine. A NutriBullet will work fine. What I would say now, if I haven't seen a NutriBullet in a while, isn't that the one that you have to turn upside down? Okay, so you can't pour into it, right? Unless there is, if it's one you can pour into, just follow the recipe exact. If it's one that you can't, like where you have to pour it in a cup and then turn it upside down and you can't pour into it while it's blending.
Yeah.
What you want to do is blend your initial ingredients, take it off, slowly pour in your milk, your heavy cream while you stir it, and then put it back in and just on low for a couple of seconds to get it together.
But if you have a NutriBullet and you also have another just standard cheapo,
just a $10 blender will work fine.
will work fine.
Yeah. Juliana said, Trish, coffee, protein blend, milk protein isolate, hydrolyzed natural flavors, phosphate blend, disodium phosphate. Yeah, I don't even know what that is, but it doesn't sound good. Juliana Rachel, why don't you have a mini Highland cow yet?
Great question. Why
they are
don't
adorable and only give 1
to 2.5 gallons of milk a day. Perfect. They'd be they're
You have to get them pregnant to get milk.
They're snack sized.
You have to get them pregnant to get milk.
Well, why are you looking at me? I'm sure that we could rent a bull.
Donna Joe, I'm N equals 1 with fiber, psyllium husk. I've tried to mix with keto chow and yogurt, which tastes okay, and the texture is fine, but the dairy is an issue. Any ideas how to take the husk powder other than just on water? I feel like it's drinking thin grits. Have you
Could you get your psyllium husk into some other food? Do you have to mix it with keto chow? I
feel like somewhere I have a recipe on how to make like a bread with psyllium husk powder.
I know we do. We do.
And then what about your crackers that you used to make all the time?
With the flaxseed ones?
Flaxseed. What about flaxseed? We have a recipe on our channel for flaxseed crackers. That would be a great way to get fiber. And it's literally flaxseed soaked in water. We should probably remake that video.
Because you're using a lot of nice ingredients that you don't want to waste and have a lackluster experience with.
Yeah. That's what I would say.
If you need to get the psyllium husk in, I would try to see if I could get it in another way.
Yeah.
By the way, Donna Joe, like you're out of the carnivore community with freaking psyllium husk. Can you believe this?
Don't start. Okay, we're going to get off, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Lots of great videos. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell button. If you are a member of our Mighty Networks Meatheads group, which is any of the paid levels, Rachel will be live on Wednesday.
10 a.m.
At 10 a.m. Eastern. And everybody have a great day.
We love you.
Bye.